So, it's just utterly amazing when you come across these folks, and it's just utterly amazing. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Craig, Colorado, and kind of like how one of these situations unfolds. So I get into Craig, Colorado. Apparently what happens is they send out, well, they're tracking me, that's the first thing, but they're also sending out, I guess, some sort of like an all points bulletin with this false narrative attached to it. And it's all this collected information from California, which of course I'm part of, but I mean anyway, that'll come later. The point being is, I go to the public library, waiting for it to open, and there's Jodi Graff on her bicycle. And as usual, regardless of how all this situation goes, I mean, when I meet anybody, I meet them. I've never met this person, so why would I treat him as anything else? But I asked her if there's any work around and this, that, and the other. She said she had some work for me, doing a remodel on one of her mobile homes. And as usual, I shed a little bit of a tear, felt so grateful, and was got everything ready to work with her and Mike Graff the next day. But what I really wanted to speak of, because as it has happened before, and as it has happened again, it also happened in Mack, Colorado. But it wasn't a random meeting. It was anything other than random. But after meeting, and these are all good people. Jodi and Mike Graff, as far as I'm concerned, are good people. But when driven and pushed by outside forces, like whether it's law enforcement or, in this sense, it's most likely the church, I believe that meeting Jodi was definitely not random, and that Theresa from, is it St. Michael's or St. Vincent's, the food kitchen there in that part of Moffat County, was also part of this. So I don't know if it was the law enforcement side or the church side to begin with. I know that law enforcement was involved because I have recorded many encounters with Moffat County, mostly me calling for vandalism and things like this to my truck. I never called about the destruction of my motor, but we know that the motor was destroyed by M&M. The steel, the place where they also do the scrap steel and all that. And we do know that. But the interesting thing here is, the first day that I worked with Jodi and Mike, you could tell that they were scratching their heads and going, what the hell is going on here? And they kept having to go and have meetings and go to lunch and do these different kinds of things. And then they would come back, and their level of intensity, their level of intensity would change. You could tell that what was happening is they're going and finding out from their handlers what is going on, and that they're being told incrementally more and more, probably worse things or whatever, which still I could never know what the hell they're talking about. What I do know is that they tell people things so bad that they tell people things that are so bad that it is just, that's how it is, right? You just call somebody a pedophile now. That's all you have to do. So they've been doing this since the Me Too time, which, when you think of the timing of all this, it makes sense of the ridiculousness that was involved with Me Too. When I say ridiculousness, there's nothing ridiculous about Cosby or Max Weinstein having to do what they need to do for the things that they've done. There's just absolutely no question. But at the same time, labeling somebody a pedophile from hearsay or bullshit or fucking some sort of whatever, I don't care what it is, I don't care if it's written down, is not the way to go about things. You can't just be attacking somebody by calling them a pedophile with unsubstantiated or even, unsubstantiated narrative, I guess you'd say. So anyway, by the third day, that's when Mike threw me with the weird 3-year-old pedophile, something about a 3-year-old being molested by somebody, and I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. I mean, am I supposed to tell him I study things like that, being a psych major? I mean, so, what is that all about? And by the third day is when they had intensified, but it was just funny the first 3 days how often it was that they would have to leave and go and check with somebody about the information that they were hearing, and I guess about what their next moves are. Of course, the other more interesting part of some of this conversation here is not about the Mack, but it's about when my father came to pick me up from Daryl Rockwell's house. I'll follow up with that. That's a very interesting story too. He basically blew his cover with Daryl and them. And please understand, when I say blew this cover, I still think that it's criminals. I mean, they're within the church, but church people are criminals too. And I really love these people too. That's what sucks also, is that I have a lot of respect for these people, regardless of what the situation is. Jodi and Mike Graff, shit. If I saw him right now, I'd try to give him a hug. Daryl Rockwell, geez, man, getting a hug from that guy. There's nothing better in the world, I don't think. I really do. It's really heartbreaking in some ways, but maybe not. Maybe when the narratives and everything are pushed to the side, and as I used to tell Daryl, when there's none of this false narrative mud in the water, see clearly, maybe they'll come across and do what they need to do. Shit. I forgot to buy well, I'm just going to leave it there.